Hi guys, how are you guys doing today? Having fun? Awesome, awesome.
So this is going to be. How are you doing?
Yeah, wake up.
Ben, you got to do it one more time.
How are you all doing? Yeah! This side of the room was much better than that side. Come on now.
All right, we're going to be talking about the funnest topic, money. And everyone wants to know how to make money with their bots, right? So we have 4 of the smartest people here, including Ben.
Nice.
And we're going to do a quick intro for everybody. This is Lauren with Pandorabots, Pete with Swell, Ben with Octane, and Bree with the Mars Agency. So go ahead, guys, introduce yourselves.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Lauren Kunze from Pandorabots. We are the largest developer platform in the world. We provide a self-service platform where you can build and deploy your chatbots. We also work directly to build out more complex chatbot applications with some of the biggest brands in the world like Coca-Cola and Toyota. And we're also home to some very popular consumer-facing bots, most notably Mitsuku, which has won the Loebner Prize Turing Test 3 times and is widely considered the best conversational chatbot in the world that speaks English and has tens of millions of users every month. So we can talk about some of our experiments with monetization, some less successful than others.
Hey guys, I'm Pete, Peter Buchreutner, one of the founders of Waves. And at Waves we created Swell, which is one of the most popular bots on Messenger, used by more than 6 million people. And it's your daily decision-making Parr, so it's people sharing opinions on things like what to wear, what to buy, and more. And the Waves platform allows brands to get consumer feedback instantaneously from anybody that a brand wants to ask. And we have clients including Red Bull who we help to understand their consumers better. For bot developers out there, we provide a suite of tools at Waves API and templates that allow you to learn more about your own customers, and it's totally for free. So find out more about your users, and later on monetize by letting brands access your bot.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back from lunch. I'm Ben. I'm the former co-editor of Mashable, the author of Captivology, and the co-founder and CMO of Octane AI, which is the conversational commerce platform for bots. So we help stores increase their revenue and optimize their sales using Facebook Messenger and using conversational commerce. So we have hundreds of stores. We directly integrate into the shopping platforms like Shopify and Demandware. And on average, and I'll talk about this, stores using our platform increase their sales by between 7 and 25% by turning on our software. We automate a lot of the things that they used to do over email, like abandoned cart, shipping and receipt notifications, things like that. Octane AI also owns and operates Chatbots magazine, which I bet a few of you have read. So there's all that.
Wow, hard to follow. But I'm Bree Glaeser, and I am an innovation strategist at the Mars Agency. So we're an agency focused on marketing to shoppers. And particularly in the innovation lab, we're interested in emerging platforms and how they can be elevated to kind of meet the shopper and how shopping and commerce is changing and across that whole landscape. And then we also have a emerging voice practice at Mars, kind of just due to following this trend and following shopper behavior changes, where we're building skills for brands as well as chatbots and just trying to make sure that we meet the shopper wherever they're at. So that's my angle. We also just launched a voice at retail product called Smart Aisle. So we have the mic just got a lot louder. So this would be the first voice-driven shopping assistant at brick-and-mortar retail that we know of. We just finished a 60-day pilot in New York City, and I'll talk a little bit more about that.
Awesome, awesome. So the question everybody wants to know, and they ask over and over again, is how do we make money with our chatbots? Whether you're a brand, indie developer, a startup, etc. What are you guys seeing out there? What are some of the easiest, best ways to monetize? Where are we within monetization right now?
Let's not use the word easy. Yeah, so I think most of the money in the market right now is in the B2B use case in large enterprises. We have a number of large enterprises on the platform, particularly on the customer care side, who are posting, $5 million in direct savings in year one. And then the bot is making money in some cases on the marketing automation and advertising side. I think the biggest way to sort of make money is to make sure you're solving a real business problem. So it's pretty traditional in terms of how you would define KPIs, how you measure ROI, lifts relative to other channels. Is it outperforming sort of mobile app engagement, which nobody's really downloading mobile apps anymore. Ben looks a lot at email marketing versus messenger marketing. So pretty standard stuff in terms of targets to set and whether or not you're making money. On the developer side, I think we have a ways to go. Monetization is not really in the platforms yet in terms of user trust and cards being on file and spending, but I think we will see an explosion in games first, and we're starting to see that a little bit specifically on Alexa.
So at Waves, we started building Swell, and at Swell, we focused on doing one thing and doing it really, really well, which is collecting people's opinions. So when you have a question, you would ask Swell, and Swell will find the right person to answer your question. Now, over the course of the last year, more than 100 million opinions have been shared through our community. So 100 million times a user, unincentivized, shared an opinion. Now we started introducing brands to that, letting brands leverage those opinions to make better decisions in marketing for themselves. So the Waves platform actually provides brands with quick feedback on what consumers think, and we monetize through that. So I'm speaking for Swell, for our startup for now. And now we just announced Waves AI as a platform where bots can integrate our template for free. Bots can also leverage our API if they don't use ChatFuel or a platform to build their bot, but actually build their bot themselves. And integrate the API to ask engaging questions to the audience so they understand the audience better, but also ultimately monetize through that. So we will provide money from the brands to you as bot developers. If you're interested, approach me later.
I guess I'll answer. So there's a difference, obviously, between if you have a single-use kind of bot and you're trying to monetize it as a developer versus if you're building bots or a platform or something that's selling to businesses, then your goal is to help them monetize what they're doing. And I think in the end, the short answer to both of those is drive real value and ROI, no matter what it is. And so I feel like, maybe you all agree or disagree, the first most bots are like art projects that don't really, or like a single campaign that their goal is to try to get into ad week and not actually drive a long-term ROI value. And that is not going to work over the long run. You have to actually drive, ideally, a revenue result. And so the best bots and the best platforms and the best, what I see, are the ones that drive a revenue result. We do it through increasing store sales. Others do it by increasing the number of customers or the customer journey or qualifying leads in enterprise. But something that really drives the end business value. What is the actual end business value, and how is your bot or your platform doing it? And if you're catering to consumers, then what is the actual value you're driving to them, and is it worth enough to them to pay or to monetize? And the truth is, most of the time, you're fumbling around, it can be very hard to find that thing. But if you just drive a real value for your customers, then you can start monetizing. We're still in that early stage, though. There's still lots of people trying to figure out how to do it, how to charge, all those pieces.
I mean, I think from the voice perspective, that's even more true. Until you can convert straight inside the skill, it's really all about just building equity for your brand and creating an experience that's a real brand relevant utility that people will actually want to use. And so I think that's how you have to view it.
So I think the moral of the story is that you're not supposed to build a bot, build a business instead. So think of it that way. You're not building a bot or an art project, you're building a business. And talking with Lauren Lauren knows a lot about that. You guys have a lot of bots. You're the original bot building platform. Old enough to vote, almost. So what are you seeing? What are the most successful use cases? Are they mostly B2B? Are there any B2C? And what do you think about the concept of bots as agents? This is something people thought about like a year ago, that average people would hire like the lawyer bot, and the lawyer bot would go out and fight a case for you, or give you, win something for you, and then collect a percentage of that. So what are your thoughts about, and what are you seeing with Pandorabots?
Yeah, so our largest revenue streams are on the marketing and advertising side, and customer care is the second most popular use case. We also do a lot in insurance, fintech, and healthcare, though those are a little bit complicated due to all the regulations and about to get more complicated thanks to GDPR. But what we see, usually when we're most successful is when the bot manages to become fundamental to the way that the business communicates with its customers. And I believe that fundamentally every business will have a bot. The market is definitely, even though some people are saying we're in the trough of disillusionment or peak despair, whatever it is, the market's definitely still there. We talk to Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies every day. A lot of them are already our customers. They're definitely all thinking about it, and I think most big brands will have bots in production in order to talk one-on-one with their customers at scale. So if I was a developer now, I might focus on how I could work with a business, or what businesses can really be reinvented from the ground up with a conversational interface where it makes sense. I think we were talking about sort of whether or not there are popular agent bots or like vertical specific bots built by independent developers or startup companies. And one great example is Lemonade, which I think doesn't get referenced a lot because they don't market themselves as a bot, but it's insurance sales through a purely conversational interface. And we get calls, once a month from some of the big insurance giants saying, we need you to build us, the Lemonade. It's like, well, actually, the bot is just kind of the easy user experience that's new and kind of an easier way to buy insurance conversationally. But the problem is your back-end infrastructure is going to be a nightmare to integrate. So I think if you have a startup kind of thinking about those use cases where you can really be impactful by being faster and reaching, the enormous 3.6 billion people on messaging apps. So there's a lot out there, but you really do, like you said, have to think about the business and the real problem, and don't just throw a bot at everything because it's trendy.
Right. How easy is it to showcase or show ROI on a bot project for you guys, or just generally?
Well, we have to, or we get fired in our professional services practice. It's, again, don't use the word easy. Nothing is easy. It's all feasible with a certain amount of time and effort. I think you kind of have to define what ROI means in the beginning, and the easiest way is to benchmark against existing channels. So if we have a brand that is able to double the amount of users that they're acquiring on Facebook Messenger versus their monthly app downloads, that's a win. It's more of a top of funnel win versus a direct revenue win, but that's a win. Ben will talk a lot about email marketing versus messenger marketing. Pete, who focuses on surveys and consumer insights, people love answering questions about themselves on messaging. Like in terms of a surveying tool, it's really gold. Maybe we should hand it over to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
People love talking about themselves?
People love talking about themselves.
So Ben, tell us more. Tell us about e-commerce and monetization.
So at least from our perspective, our benchmarking is against traditional email marketing. So stores really rely on, like Shopify stores, e-commerce stores, they really rely on their email marketing. The newsletters, the abandoned cart campaigns where they send an email if you forget to complete a purchase, shipping and receipt notifications, requests for reviews. It all happens over email because people don't spend a ton of time on the site, and the ideal thing is people come back to make the purchase and then leave. But how do you keep track of them on that journey? One of the biggest issues for e-commerce is you only capture maybe 20% of the people who abandon a cart because you don't have their email address. using like bot technology, using Messenger, you can capture, like we capture over 3 times the amount of contact information of number of people than they do through their traditional email channels. Our benchmarking, so like on average, you know, the email open rates for something like an abandoned cart email is probably about 25 to 30%. Our open rates are 75 to 80%. And you can like clearly like see that difference. And so I think the biggest thing on our platform is 1 out of 9 messages sent through our e-commerce campaigns converts into a sale. You can't get any more clear towards a like value prop than that. And you compare it against email, it just blows it out of the water. So the big, like, I really agree with the benchmarking piece. Benchmark it against an existing channel and an existing thing that they're doing, and you show clearly like this works better and much better, because it does, because people just don't check their email. They're not there anymore. They're on messaging, they're on voice. They're where you would put bots. So it's a very like easy win. It's a win if you can get the case studies and you can do the benchmarking. It's a lot of what we do in our like marketing materials. We have customer testimonials, we have all sorts of benchmarking tools, things like that.
And Bree, what about the voice side of things?
I mean, our use case is a little bit different, particularly when we're talking about putting voice in retail. We can talk about ROI in pretty concrete terms. So we've been able to see like a sales lift of 14% in the first 30 days of having this kind of shop assistant at shelf. And then in the second 30 days, we saw a sales lift of 38%. And that's year over year. And it's the same product set that's select at the shelf. So we've been able to see kind of a big increase in sales.
Right. Now, so for those of us that don't know the product, can you tell us a little bit more about it? Tell us a story. Like you're going into a liquor store and you want to buy whiskey.
Yeah, so that is the use case for this. When you're buying, I mean, we did real consumer research to find the right use case in this spirit store. So it's actually a really awesome experiential wine store already. It's called Bottle Rocket Wine and Spirits, and it's in Union Square. And so we went in thinking we were going to build an experience for wine, and then we realized they were actually doing a really great job on like an analog front there. And we saw that people were going up to the whiskey shelf and just kind of standing there and staring at it. And it really required like that conversation with an associate to make that choice. So we decided to build the experience there. So now you can go up and you can talk to Alexa, and she will ask you questions that are very easy for you to answer. And again, that's based on research. And then give you a product selection recommendation. So she'll recommend like 2 to 3 whiskeys that you might like. And so the product also is hooked up to LED lights on the shelf. So you'll see immediately like these are the 3 bottles that you might want to buy. Based on your inputs. So there's a few different ways to shop. You can shop based on like, I like Maker's Mark normally and I want to spend just like a little bit more on something special right now. And then you'll get a recommendation that fits those parameters. So in our case, it's very dependent on good design and also having like a really valuable database in the back end that's actually going to give you good recommendations. So it's not just marketing, it's like really giving you value.
Yeah, that's very exciting. One day we're going to go talk to the whiskey at the store. And Pete, what about developers? Let's say you're an indie developer and you want to make money with your bot. There's a lot of things you can try to do, and that's you can try to directly monetize it, or you can use something like what you guys are doing, Waves.ai.
Yeah, so what we found is, what we've heard on this panel earlier, is that people just love to answer questions. So it's a great way to engage people. It's a great way to get people to onboard new users into your bot by asking them a question, if you think about an ad on Facebook, for example. But it's also great to re-engage them and to learn more about your audience. So with Waves, we provide you with basically a simple interaction piece that you can just integrate within your bot. And you ask your audience questions like, are you a foodie or are you into fashion? And based on that answer, you give them the next question. If they say fashion, do you like dresses or jeans? And then you just basically figure out more about your audience without actually annoying them and spamming them. So we have a way of an interactive ad that we place within messaging, which is a channel that's used by billions of people every month. And for you as a bot developer, first you use this engagement piece for free, but then if you think you build an audience, let's say within fashion, and you want to monetize by letting brands leverage those opinions, we have a platform where we allow brands to actually ask questions to your audience, and we give you a cut of that revenue.
Yeah, just to add on, I think like the data is really gold or money. You know, in addition to telling you how you should evolve your bot, it really allows you to have that personal conversation with the user in a way that's meaningful to them, in a way that traditional advertising has really tried and aspired to do, but is going to be able to do it on a next level. We work with some retailers as well, and we had a customer care bot up for a retail brand that was a bra brand, and everybody's asking about bras. And so, you know, we noticed this because we're plugged into Dashbot, our host today, great analytics platform, and we're able to see like these people like these types of things. So we can actually show them those products based on what they're saying in conversation, and the two-way power of that channel is just really incredible.
Awesome. And Pete, do you think that ads are moving towards a more conversational, engaging direction instead of just being static content?
Yes, and it's really interesting because, to be honest, I mean, ads suck, right? So nobody really wants to see ads. It's annoying, it distracts us and gets us out of what we actually want. But if the ad allows you to have a better experience within the product that you're engaging with by just sharing an opinion via an A/B vote, and it goes away and it actually makes that bot better for you as a user, it's a different story.
Just stick a TV in front of me. I just want to watch ads all day. No one wants to do that.
Yeah, only during the Super Bowl, right?
Only during the Super Bowl, you're right.
Only during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, but I like to talk about that, Ben, because there's really very little ROI on a TV ad. Like, you're not really getting any data back. Did I change the channel?
It's very hard to track it.
If I change the channel, you know, but what was I on my phone? What was I doing?
Well, I mean, that's one of the nice things about not just messaging and bots, but ads in general on the web is just being able to track it deeply, like what people are doing. But I think especially in bots, like, let's do another Dashbot thing. Like, you can track really specifically what people's like what they're doing, what the preferences, and like, you know, rather than sending like 50 emails about 50 products, you can send one really targeted message about the product that they actually want, and decrease spam and increase brand affinity and increase like actual helpfulness to the end user.
So we've talked about data and collecting data and how valuable it is. What's the best questions you can ask that will help drive monetization the most?
Well, we ask people how much money they're willing to spend. That's good data.
Okay.
I mean, we hook into like the commerce platform, so we get a lot of data on like, you know, shopping behavior. So instead, what we do is like we have all sorts of different targeting layers for sending messages based on different pieces of purchase history on purchasing behavior. But also in our system, you can ask specific questions like Kiehl's, L'Oreal is one of our customers. They have a bot that'll ask you, like, what kind of skin do you have? What's the weather where you live? And then they'll recommend a skincare routine. But at the same time, now they can know that you have dry skin or oily skin. And, you know, when they launch a new product for dry skin, they can just send it to the people who have said that they have dry skin. And so it's specific product preferences, I think, is something that you want to collect.
Got it. And out of all the platforms, which ones, how would you compare them for monetization purposes?
Lauren, you want to start this one?
They're all terrible. I said it, Ben. No, there's a better way to say that is there's still a lot of work to do. You know, Facebook is the only platform that has payments. It's in beta.
It doesn't work in every country yet.
Yeah, it doesn't work in a lot of ways. And I think, you know, we just don't have that ecosystem that we had in the app days. So, you know, Stefan mentioned that we're OG in the bot space, so we've actually been through a number of different hype cycles. We started in 2008, and we actually had a lot of independent developers monetize in the mobile app era because that ecosystem was there where you could charge $1 really easily. So I think until we see that, and hopefully it's coming, you know, Business Chat went into beta this week with iMessage, and that's a platform that people really trust with their credit card details. So as soon as that's in there, I think we're going to start to see the ability to monetize bots on messaging platforms. So maybe that's a good one to look at as a developer.
Got it. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, as Lauren said, I think we need a quick and easy way to spend our money within chat applications or voice applications. Otherwise, we just don't do it. If there's a barrier, then it's not going to happen. So the first thing is payment actually needs to work for everybody and everywhere. But other than that, I mean, for now, as I said earlier, we are focusing on use cases where we provide value for brands, so we can basically monetize on the B2B side. And I think that's what we should focus on in 2018. And when payment is ready and when there's other services in place that make it easier for developers to make money within this ecosystem of bots in chat and voice, I think then we can also work on something directly consumer-based.
Okay, last question. Are you guys ready for it? Where do you think bots are headed? What's the future of bots? We only have 1 minute, so who wants to answer it? Ben?
They will
Peter?
replace people who ask questions.
There's where, you know, someday we'll just have an integration with Elon Musk's Neuralink, and there'll just be a bot that you can launch for the brain, and you just communicate with you.
Blockchain.
Yeah,
You forgot to say blockchain.
Oh, I forgot to say blockchain, XR.
I said it earlier.
Did I forget drones? Did I forget any AI? Yeah, there you go, whole thing. There's going to be more conversation in other formats beyond voice and messaging. I don't exactly know what that'll look like. Conversational interfaces are just going to continue to be more important to the relationship between consumer and brand, and building for that will continue to be important.
Awesome. So next we're going to have the audience ask questions.
Hi, Bree, I was very interested in what you were saying about the liquor store and how you were handling that. Seems like what you're dealing with there is you're really helping customers resolve choice overload, which, you know, that's become a huge phenomenon, right? And in a liquor store, I mean, you're totally overwhelmed by the number of offerings, right? Any other comments on choice overload from you or any other panel members?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I think that's why the use case is so good, is that it's kind of an opaque category. It's difficult to shop. So that's why it's so helpful. And then I think, like, sort of building off the last question about voice in the future, I think that what's so valuable about putting it in retail is that you can keep the shopper present in the physical environment and keep them off of their mobile device. So I think that voice really has this potential to kind of replace mobile in a lot of ways because it's the lowest friction interface.
I mean, in terms of choice overload, we build our whole business about that premise, and especially in Generation C, what we've seen with our social polling bot is that actually people are indecisive and they want a second opinion, and they much rather make a decision when they get somebody's opinion first. And I think, again, the whole voice and bot interface is just, as Ben said, is a great way to give every single user a different experience tied to exactly what they want and what they need at the moment.
Yeah, and that's when a conversation actually makes sense, when you don't know what you want. Because if you do know what you want and you put a chatbot in front of me and it slows me down to getting it, I've just lost money.
Hey, I'm Spencer. I have a question around how you view freemium bots and where I think the potential is there. Lauren, you mentioned in the past developers monetizing off a paid mobile app install. I can see a future where you maybe can chat with the bot for free on Facebook and then chat with a slightly better version of that bot for a small price. Can you just talk about how you see that potentially playing out?
Freemium is really hard. It's not. I don't think it's really. I mean, I don't really think it's a bots question as much as it is. These freemium strategies are really specific, and you have to be really. You have to have a system that really makes it so that you need to pay for the upgraded version. And very honestly, a lot of companies don't figure that out and have freemium versions where they get a bunch of free signups but can never convert them into something. And that's more of a UX and product design than it is like bots.
I mean, I agree. When you think of freemium and pro versions, the first thing that comes to mind is things like Netflix or Spotify, where it works really well, but it's just not that interface of a chat or a voice. I think it's hard, yeah.
Yeah, we've tried that model of will people pay if the bot will talk to them for an hour and then they have to unlock it. No. But the thing about my experiments is that you shouldn't let them deter you from trying anything crazy yourself. We tried ads a long time ago. We're trying again. We got some things wrong. But I think you should try everything. But I can say that one we've found, and we haven't found a bot that people actually want to talk to long enough that they're going to pay. Maybe if you have something with a viral loop in it that's a game, you'll have a different story. But I haven't succeeded there yet.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
One over here.
Hi, so my name is Armando from SuperBot. So one question is, what is your take on using pixel tracking for some of the web views that spur out of a dialogue versus tracking the actual, putting all the calories on the actual dialogue? Because ultimately, like for them to click to go there, they need to first understand what they're going into. And so we've been having that challenge, and your thoughts on how to better manage the dialogue pixel type of tracking and understanding.
So I mean, we have both in place. So we use an open chat for people to share opinions, but we also use what we call power voting, which is a web view that's opening, so people actually have the choice. We didn't focus on either or because we need both to actually explain the usage, as you said. And in terms of tracking, I think it's an experiment. I mean, there's just not a lot you can get out of the chat. Yeah, I think I don't have a better answer for that.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Oh, we got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks to all our
Thank you.
panelists. That was very helpful.